so much. Since it's been 2 years, I might talk a little longer, and I do first want to apologize to the Waimanalo community because I was the chairperson that held this bill up for a year. And I was very much against this bill, and yesterday I was against this bill as well. But I realized something really important today. You know, there's 3 issues since in my very short 4 years on the city council that I've had to deal with that I couldn't completely solve and couldn't make everybody happy. One was the whole Uber, Lyft thing and the conflict with our taxi cab drivers. And when we first heard about these issues where there was different rules between the taxis and people who did Uber or Lyft could do whatever the heck they want, and we started getting reports that taxi cab drivers were losing their jobs, they had no incomes for their families, and we would say to ourselves, you know, this is a private enterprise matter and we should let the market forces handle this kind of thing. You know, we shouldn't really get involved in this, and there's certain rules and regulations, there's constitutional things. But in the end, after I think like 20 versions of different bills, and Councilmember Kobayashi did a fabulous job with a lot of those bills, and each bill wasn't permanent. We knew that the first one wasn't exactly right. We knew the second one wasn't exactly right. There's multiple versions, but in the end, we just kept working it and working it and working it. And we're probably still going to work on a few things because it's so complicated. And in the end, I supported all those versions because people were being harmed. People were losing their jobs. Families were being hurt. An entire industry was being destroyed in a rapid pace. So that's why I supported just trying to help. And the second one was in Councilmember Fukunaga's district, and when it came down to these 2 business people who somehow got a hold to say that they legally owned these streets and were forcing these small little mom and pop stores to pay them rent for parking that used to be free, that should have been free. And then we discussed all the legal issues. They somehow got this little way to say that they owned it, but they didn't really, and the courts were handling it. And at first we said, let's just let the courts handle this problem. But in the meantime, people were being harmed. And so despite all the legal arguments for or against, or the risks, I decided to support Councilmember Fukunaga's efforts just to help people. And yesterday I was very concerned, being the council chairperson of the Parks Committee that held this bill up for a year, and this was being heard, and I was very disturbed that I was going to have to deal with this today. And speaking to opponents, they said nothing's changed, it's even worse than before. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to support you, and this is wrong. And after I actually first read the bill, sitting down here, I realized, wow, the Waimanalo people compromised tremendously, and in my opinion, is not getting what they deserve. But in the end, you kind of meet my requirement. We're not really perfect here, but you're being harmed. And your community is being destroyed at a rapid pace. And so in this last hour or so, I've been convinced to support this measure. I don't see it as permanent. And I take full responsibility as the Parks Chair, is just assuming that the Parks Department would come up with this uniform rules. And so I take responsibility that I didn't introduce a bill right away demanding that they do it, because then maybe we wouldn't be in this situation where we're doing these piecemeal things. Will it affect other beaches? Probably. But that's why, I will introduce legislation, and I'd love for you to co-sponsor it, to require the Department of Parks to do uniform language through the whole island so that we never have to deal with this piecemeal thing again. And when I read this legislation, I'm so sad, because really most of the bill, the changes that we're actually adopting today, is already in a permit that prohibits them from using it anyway. So it's like the only way that people can have relief from what already is prohibited, and what was told by the police officers today, is they can't enforce a permit. So we're just actually doing what's what's already prohibited and just codify into law so that we don't have residents risking their lives going up to people, probably big drivers. You got this small little auntie saying, hey, you're not supposed to be here. Waimanalo is just, they're on their own right now. And so I urge the opponents, and I want to work with you so that we can put forth legislation that handles the whole island, where we go beach by beach, and especially small little beaches that are being destroyed, will not be hurt anymore. And I have many of them in my district. And so while I don't think this is perfect, people are being harmed, and so we need to act. And 2 years is long enough to not act, and I apologize for being the person that held it up for a year. I'm so sorry. He started to cry, and I'm sorry I harmed you. Oh, we're gonna help you, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Vice Chair.